Welcome back, and for those that are new, welcome to the first time. Either way, sorry for the delay. It's been almost a couple weeks since my last podcast, and we had to take a small break there for some personal things. But now that we're back, we're going to talk about part two of the series of soft plastics and what you should do to catch fish with them. That being said, my last one was on drop shots. This one's going to be on your weightless rigs, give or take a nail weight or two. But fishing a weightless rig takes patience. Say it again. Fishing a weightless rig takes patience. A weightless Cinco is deadly. Everybody fishes a wacky rig. Everybody fishes the Nico rig. And yes, wacky rigs are deadly. But if you fish cover, like I fish cover, you fish riprap, like I fish riprap, fishing a wacky rig can be more antagonizing than it can be rewarding because you're getting hung up. You get the exposed hook, and even with the little weed guard on there, it's just the way it's on your line, it's prone to get hung up. So I prefer a weightless Texas rig, and it takes patience, but man, with the weightless Texas rig, you can make that thing do a 360. You can make it do the spiral of death. It's just the wobble shimmy that it does down to the bottom is what gets the fish to bite. Now, people say, well, are all Cincos created equal? People wonder that, and some people don't wonder that. People that don't wonder that know that they've tried other knockoff or replica Cinco type lures, soft plastic baits, and they found out that yeah, the Gary Yamamoto Cinco, the true first one, is the best one. They nailed it. The right combination of salt and plastic makes for the perfect shimmy that's many tackle companies have tried to, replicate this, and they just can't do it. Now, as far as other ones go, I'll tell you about a night when I was fishing at a marina. We were fishing from the bank, but yet, you know, there's boat slips right in front of us. You can cast and basically hit the edge of the boat slip, and we were just nailing them. I mean, we'd catch 20 to 30 a piece. Now, they weren't huge bass. They were mostly, half pound to a pound bass, even smaller and maybe a little bit bigger here and there. But we'd go through a bag or two of Cincos per person a night, me and my buddy. Just, you know, tearing them up. But, speaking of tearing them up, you catch one fish a lot of times, you've lost that Cinco. And that's the price of doing business with catching fish. If you want to catch a lot of fish, you're going to lose a lot of baits if you're using Cincos from Gary Yamamoto. That's all there is to it. For me, it doesn't bother me. If I lose a bait after catching one fish, yeah, it's unfortunate, but I don't care. That's worth it to me. I don't mind losing one soft plastic bait if I catch a fish. Now, if the brim goes and tears it in half and I ain't got nothing left and it's a pecker fish, yeah, I'm kind of upset. But, not too upset because that's part of it, If you're not throwing your bait in a spot that can potentially get you hung up or lose your bait or not, a lot of times, not all the times, but a lot of times you're probably not catching as many fish as the people that are throwing their baits into cover, into hard to keep from getting hung up areas. But those are the kind of habitat areas that bass love, and they do. They like to have cover. They like to be able to feel safe around structure. Now, do they get suspended? Of course they are. But there's a lot of bass, especially big ones, that like to have cover. They like to be in an area where they can retreat to deep water fast. They'll come up shallow, but they want that deep water somewhere near that they can retreat to. It makes them feel safe, makes them feel good, especially along a bluff type bank where you have, let's say you're fishing in an area where you have 5-foot depth water in front of you for about 10 yards and it drops off to 9 or 10. Well, those bass are going to sit there at that bluff down around 6 or 7 foot, just hanging out, waiting for the panfish, shad, whatever bait fish to come around that area, and they're going to ambush them. That's the way they like to hunt. But You know, with the weightless Texas rig Cinco, if you're patient, you will be rewarded. You will catch fish. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. If there's bass there, be caught, you will catch them. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pause there. I don't know if we're going to have time to keep on going, but I'm here at the lake now. We just pulled up, and we feel like we're going to catch them. I feel like we're going to catch them. I hope I catch them. So I'm going to pause this, and hopefully I unpause it, and I can tell you some stories about catching stuff. So we're going to try today some Cincos, some OSP beavers, and we even got that new Gary, ain't new anymore, but it's new last year, Gary Yamamoto Zinger thing with all the rings on it. Anyway, all right, guys, wish me luck. All right, yeah, so, uh-oh. That was an accidental there, sorry about that. Okay, so, yeah, I didn't stay long. I didn't stay for like 8 minutes. It's only 103 degrees and 4:51 p.m. Probably the worst time to be trying to catch fish from the bank on Rip Rap, in my opinion. Mostly because at that point the rocks are conducting heat. The sun gets on those rocks, it conducts heat, resulting in bass not wanting to hang out there. They'll hang out back there at the line where the rocks meet the actual bottom of the lake, and even if that's, you know, if that's the temperature line, maybe then they'll hang out there even more. But for the most part, they're waiting for low light conditions and the rocks to not be 103 degrees. You would think that mattered, but it does matter. Matter of fact, it's obvious when I'm fishing over there. I can tell that, you know, when all I can see is turtles, I don't even see any shad. I'm got a chance of catching one, but not that much. I figure go home, make dinner, hang out with your son, practice pitching, wait till it gets to be about an hour before or even a couple hours after dark. I mean, I caught a 6-pounder Friday night there in one section at 11 o'clock on Friday night, 11 o'clock-ish, on a OSP Live Beaver 4-inch. I was using the hookup tackle Jerome color, and yeah, man, that thing does really good. I got this dunk, and I was like, whoa, fishing weightless with this. I got 3/0 Ryoji offset shank hook with a 4-inch Live Beaver and one little nail weight, tungsten nail weight in the head, and that thing will spiral down just like it's doing the death spiral. Watching it in the water, I'm thinking, man, this thing looks deadly. At nighttime, I was out there with my headlamp. I didn't have it on full blast. I had it on the lowest setting, so, you know, I didn't want to spook the fish. And I kept casting in this area where I know, you know, I've actually mapped this whole area with my kayak and from the bank with my castable Jarman Striker sonar. So I have a pretty good idea of what I'm fishing, where I'm fishing, and I know this area really, really well. I fished it way too many times because my wife thinks I love fishing more than the family, which is ludicrous, but yet, you know, I go to this place because it's 5 miles from my house, and I've been going there since I was a kid. I've been fishing those rocks, not constantly, but I was fishing those rocks when I was 8 years old, 7 years old, riding my bike there in the summertime, fishing for catfish. Me and my best friend, that was an awesome time back then. We would go to the feed store, and for $1 you'd get a soft serve ice cream and a barbecue sandwich. I know it sounds like good old day syndrome, but truthfully, you talk about badass sandwich. That sandwich was awesome. I can remember it now to this day. And the soft serve ice cream, well, it was real ice cream. Back then, a barbecue sandwich, it was hard to make a bad one because the meat quality was so much better. You know, as time gone along, meat quality has gotten
lesser and lesser and lesser, so much so that you have to go to a damn steakhouse and pay, $40 for a decent steak. Man, good old time. So we save up our money, spend a night at one or the other's house, and we would, gather up chicken livers and whatever we could to fish with. Sometimes we got lucky, and my dad would have like a box of the as seen on TV frozen shrimp. If you've heard of this, you know what I'm talking about. In the 70s, 80s, and 90s, even not so much in the 90s, but it was kind of, I think they were going out of business in the 90s or something. I stopped seeing them, but you used to be able to go into the grocery store and you'd find these boxes of shrimp, and they were mostly meant for fishing, but I guess people would eat them. I don't know. But you can get a box of that. I don't know why it said as seen on TV shrimp. I guess they used to sell it on TV. I don't know why. But anyway, I always thought that was peculiar because top right hand corner there's a little as seen on TV shrimp in a little white box, and you'd get a box of that shrimp or whatever bait you could, and we'd be so excited. Not before rigging up our one rod. We'd only take like one rod, and just be hell bent on catching catfish. And me and my friend Brian Scarborough, we'd go out there and ride our bikes from, I guess this is about 2 miles, mile and a half, 2 miles. We ride our bikes to get to the Miller Road. Sometimes we wouldn't go to 66 because even though it was closer, it just seemed more scarier to us. We were really young, 7 years old, riding a bike, 7 years old. Something I would even think about that my son do nowadays, which is ludicrous because I don't think he's going to be in trouble or anything like that. It's just in this day and age, media's got us so scared to put our kids out there, let them live their childhood, that we keep them protected. So, yeah, the idea of my son getting on his bike at 7 years old, riding down and going fishing with his buddy it's crazy. Because, I just don't see him having the demeanor to do that, but we did, and we had a ball. And that's the same rocks I've gone back to. After I moved back to where I live now, I started fishing here again, because it's, right by my house. I just thought it was so neat that the same riprap that I fished when I was, 6, 7 years old is the same riprap I'm fishing today at age 49, and been fishing there for the past 7 years. Known as the Dead Sea to a lot of people in this lake, I catch monsters here all the time. I don't fill a stringer full, which I don't keep them anyway, but if I were to keep them, I don't catch a whole, I'm sorry, I'm driving and some guy almost cut me off. But yeah, I don't catch big bags, but sometimes I catch a bag. You get a wolf pack here and there. Friday night, I had a potential to get onto them. I've got that same area where I've caught 6 in a row, all weighing the smallest one about 3.5 pounds, biggest one getting up to 6, and they just sit there and they'll corral those shad up on the rocks, and they'll just murder them all night long. And last night was a full moon. I would have loved to go on last night, but anyway, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna try my hand later on. But that fish I caught Friday night, that big one, caught it on a weightless 4-inch beaver. And just having that nail weight in there was the perfect amount of weight to make that thing do a slow spiral down. You pop it up, sometimes I just drag it up a little bit. Drag it up off the bottom, let it sink. Drag off the bottom, let it sink. Using my spin cast, I just had a little slack in my line, but I felt the dunk. And I was like, couldn't tell if I wasn't using my mega bass, so I couldn't tell if it was a pecker fish or if it was a, decent fish. But I didn't know if that was a decent bite. Reached back to see if I had any tension on there, and sure enough I did. Went to set the hook, and I heard splash, splash, splash. I go, oh, that's probably a bass. My thinking at first was it's going to be a drum, because drums always get up there and seem to beat the bass to my bait a lot of times. But yeah, there's a lot of drum in this lake too. So anyway, and I heard that splash like that, though, it just cued me in to think, man, it's gonna be a bass. Anyway, this is about to be over. I got about 5 seconds. So anyway, thank you for listening. Part 3 will be up next, and yeah, will see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for listening. Catching Bass with DFW Darren. Until next time, just be patient and trust what you're doing. If you don't have confidence in what you're doing, you ain't gonna catch anything. You might get lucky, but you know what I mean. I don't have any clever things to say right now besides thank you for listening, and I will see y'all soon. Bye.